So we're wrapping up our day of maintenance on this. And we got one last thing to do. So the lid, even though it's got water being held on top, it leaks. So we're going to make this a little bit better because I also need a water distilling machine. And I was like, why haven't I thought of this sooner? So now that I've thought of this, later, we'll still do it. So, first things first is we gotta disconnect all of this tote, save that pipe, save that flange. Well, this sucks, the fucking flashlight died. So I gotta put the bottom on first, and then we'll drill the side. Now that that's sealed off, it's starting to rain, so well, that's pretty cool. I'll just let it sit out here like this overnight, let it cure out. I'm gonna mark our side inlet hole out tomorrow and start ripping her. Alright, so it's been a couple days. This is well cured now. So now what I need to do is drill a hole into that lid right there and screw this into here. So, I'll see you in a second. Perfect. Perfect. Alright, so now we marked it, if you can't tell. All I did was put that little black line right there. That's our half center mark, so we'll get it out in the light so you can see it. Alright, so that top line is the center of the pipe mark as it sits. I can go from here all the way over to there. That's how much room I got. So let's get that drilled out. Alright, so now we got that in there. Nice seal. We have this in here. Now the only thing left to do is attach our collection bucket underneath of it. So now we come over here, we got our down tube in there. You just take it, slide it over. This part I'll have to come up with some other stuff, make it a little bit easier. Unfortunately, I can't get a clear view. Screwing that into the bottom, here we go. I'm only going to take it to about hand tight. There we go. Shit, I think I'm ready to turn this on. So let's turn on our distilled water maker. I gotta turn the water on first, hang on. The water is on. Let's start making distilled water, boys and girls. Kick some fresh water in. Alright, so you can't see it that well, but we got our steam coming out. This is what's going to make our distilled water. Distilled-ish, alright? All those water droplets now all that steam will collect water on the side here. It can only come out one spot when it gets too much water, which is at the bottom of the bucket. And if you notice, we put our flange at one of the lowest points in the tote. Now, what do I mean by the lowest point in the tote? We're going to take this lid back off and you'll notice a pattern, okay? That pattern, you see where we have our flange at, is on the bottom. So that means that is one of the lowest points. If I need some help getting it to come over to that way, all we'll do is put a glass jar in there. I'm going to let this run for about 2 to 3 hours. The countertop steam generators make, I think it was like up to 2 or 3 gallons in like 5 or 6 hours for the ones that I was looking at. So not a lot. I just want to see how long it takes me to fill up 5 gallons of water from our distilling box, is what I guess we'll call it. So, and then once this cools down, I can add all my fertilizers and whatever I need to for my plants. So, and that is the whole point of this. And then also, when you have more surface area in here, so like if I had jars to sterilize, excuse me, which I do, but I don't have them in there, which I don't know why. So maybe I should put them in there. Up some jars in here. And what that'll do is give us extra surface area for moisture to condense to then hit down and drain into our bucket. So let me get this loaded and I'll bring you guys back. Alright, so now I got my jars of green in here. The jars are wiped down. So yes, there will be some minute like particles that end up going down into there, but we'll show you why I had to make this, because I had to get away from the tap. So now that we've added these jars, there's more surface area where you see how the steam's coming out to collect onto. So let's get the lid on. I'll see you guys in about 2 hours and we'll do a water check on our bucket. All right, so we got our catch. We got our wet coir up here drying out using the heat. But, excuse me. The other steam one I was looking up does about 6 gallons a day. We've been running about an hour and a half. Our water line's right there. I don't know if you can see it. It's gonna be hot. Ouch. Yeah, be careful not to get anything into there. But just dripping away. And then we come out and we smack it off the sides. So when this is done in about 2 hours, we'll have about 4 gallons. And yeah, we'll remove it from here, let it cool down. I'll probably pull the pipe out. I should have got another lid. Yeah, I'll let the pipe rest in there for now, just so I can, actually no, I'll pull the pipe out and then put something on top to cap it while it cools down. And then once it's cool, we'll look at the water on the inside and see what we have. I've seen some black specks in there, which made some sense from seeing how the sealant was, but we'll test the parts per million of dissolved solids once we're done and see what's going on. And leave that down like that. Sides bulge out really good, which is why I wasn't worried about making it watertight there. It swells out, vents out, and then vents in the bottom. But yeah, I'm pretty pumped. Well, I'll see you guys once it's done. Alright, so now we're gonna come here since it's done running. If my tube dips in the water, I'm not really that concerned about it. Is it that hot? Oh, it's not that hot right now. Sweet. I wasn't sure. So I'm gonna drop the tube, slide the bucket up. Can I get it out this way without pulling the bucket out? Yep. Yeah, I need both hands. Take that there. Like that. Grab our polyfill. Stuff that in there like that. Perfect. Stick my tube back on the bottom. So we're going to be running some substrate in a minute. And I want to collect that water as well. Now we'll go sit this over here, let this cool down, and then check it when everything is done. Alright guys, so it's been some time, it's cooled down, and what has been the purpose of putting this machine together? Well, it's quite simple. That's our sample. Let's go down to the bucket. Alright, so we're down here on the bucket. This test will be pretty, this will show why. Here's our tap water. We are at 232 parts per million of dissolved solids, which makes sense. I live on a well. It has an iron taste to the water. So this is the reason that we are making this machine. So here we go with that. Let's take that. Now set this up here. We'll take the lid off of our bucket. And let's take our sample. Now, so you can see it's still in the water all the way. 44 parts per million. So, and this is a byproduct because I'm going to be using the steam machine for sterilizing and pasteurizing. This water was getting poured off into the ground anyway. As long as I'm mindful and I clean my jars or whatever I am putting into the sterilizer first, the only result will be that I'm going to lessen the parts per million because this is our starting point. Alright. So, I hope you guys learned something. Just think outside of the box with the equipment that you have, because you might have equipment that can accomplish more than one task. We have the ozone water infuser. That's because I need to use ozone to clean the inside of my tents and totes, and I actually use that when I stack my vented petri dishes as the last phase of cleaning. So just figuring out how to capture the ozone inside of a box and run it through a pump into a stone diffuser really does accomplish the task of not having to buy a ozone water generator or clean water jet or whatever they're called. And you're essentially infusing extra oxygen into the water, which your roots will love, and because it's not peroxide, it won't disrupt the soil. So just think outside of the box a little bit, and sometimes, like I've been saying, when you have to think outside of the box, you got to put your brain inside a box. So boxes are modular, they're dope. Don't be afraid to think inside of the box because most people don't check the corners. So I hope you learned something, and it's at this point in time I'd like to thank you for your time. It's all we have, and it does not exist. Much love, and stay chubby, friends.